Hey, Dr. Mindy here, and in this video, I'm actually going to show you the exact protocol, the foods I would eat, the exercise. I'm going to show you the exercises that I would do so that you can take your incredible fasting habits, maximize autophagy, and then when you're done fasting, you can come over and stimulate mTOR and build yourself some muscle. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you foods, I'm going to show you exercise, and I've mapped out the protocol for you. Get ready. Okay, so I want to show you the actual protocol and how you would apply it, and I want to show you through food, and I'm going to show you through exercise as well. So stay tuned through this whole video because I'm going to show you the 3 exercises and how you can apply them, and I give you really specific steps so it's clear. Hopefully it's clear. So remember, the whole purpose behind this muscle reset that I'm laying out here for you guys is to help you build muscle. Some of you are also going to want to see if this muscle reset will improve performance in your sport, in your life, like it has for many of my athletes. There are so many cool principles that we can apply to hack into our body, to get our body to perform at another level. If you love this stuff, come join me in the academy. This is what we're doing over there. We're customizing resets for people. We're helping people build their own so that they can succeed at these principles. But let's dive in to the muscle reset. How do you build muscle with fasting? If this is the first video you're seeing of this, go back and watch the video I did on the quickest way to build muscle with fasting so you understand the principles. Let's talk specifically about protein cycling. What does that mean? So protein cycling is where you're not just taking a whole day and loading your protein up. You're actually being very intentional about doing small protein amounts where you're going 20 grams at a time, 4 to 5 times throughout the day, which means you want to be careful that you don't start doing 40, 50. This is not like having 4 steaks in a day. This is about having short bursts of protein as the day goes on, because this is what the research is showing will stimulate the mTOR pathway. So let me give you some ideas. Let's start with eggs. I think eggs are probably one of the greatest sources of protein. 3 eggs is going to give you 18 grams of protein. So you could do 3 hard boil, you can do a scramble. That would be 1 shot of 20 grams, okay? So you could also do things like you could dive in and have a hamburger. You're gonna need to watch it though, because 4 ounces of grass-fed beef will give you 24 grams of protein. So you can't be doing a big steak, except for at the end of the day. I'll talk about that in a moment. There are really cool things like some of these bars. This is a Primal bar, and it's a macadamia sea salt bar with collagen. The whole bar has 13 grams of protein in it. So one of your 4 to 5 meals might actually be a bar like this. I'm sure you can find that. There's a lot of different places. Nuts. Now, you would have to look on your nut butter, but I can tell you on my organic raw nut butter that I love, the almond, this one, 2 tablespoons is 7 grams of protein. So I could do 4 tablespoons of these and I'd be around my 20 gram mark. You want to get as close to that 20 grams as possible. The other thing that I often do when I'm protein loading is I do collagen. So collagen is really easy to get in. There are 2 types of collagen powder that I like. This one is collagen ECM, which is made more for cartilage. And then there's an MB that's made to build muscle. We'll put the links in there. But check this out. 1 scoop of collagen is 19 grams of protein. And look at when you put it in water, it will actually dissolve almost completely in water. If we let this over time, you'll see that it'll start to dissolve, and it's not lumpy if you stir it around, and you could actually just drink it like this. I did this the other day. I did this with some exogenous ketones and drank it. It's pretty tasteless. It doesn't have a lot. So if you don't want to add it to a smoothie, you could also add it to a smoothie as well. So collagen powder is awesome. You could really look at adding some massive cream in your coffee. We get this question all the time, but when you're trying to stimulate mTOR, you could add in some cream. And you know, I don't think you're going to get 20 grams of protein in your cream. But I think that you can, like a tablespoon barely has a gram, but you can start to put in some cream. You could do some yogurt, just look at your container, and you could do cheese. So you could do dairy. Now, here's what's interesting. I want you guys to think about this. Just like when we're talking about fermented foods that we really want to diversify, on these protein load days where you're doing these splashes of 20 grams of protein, I want you to diversify. I think it would be awesome if you did eggs and you did collagen powder and you did nut butters and you did a bar. I mean, you could just mix it up. You got 4 to 5 opportunities to do that on these protein stimulating days. So the research, it's 20 grams of protein each time you sit down and you eat it, and you want to do that 4 to 5 times throughout the day. Okay, now there's also another study that I cited in my protocol on the quickest way to build muscle with fasting is that before you go to bed, you want to have your highest protein meal. So you would have 40 grams of protein is what the research is saying before you go to bed, and that will keep mTOR stimulated. Now remember, go back and watch the interview I did with Naomi. She talked about her number one favorite tool for stimulating autophagy is sleep. Well, so if you actually do a high protein meal before you go to sleep, you're going to go into your night and into your sleep, and you're going to be stimulating mTOR. And it's this cycling back and forth between autophagy and mTOR that's going to build you this lean, strong, high-performing muscle. It's the going back and forth that makes such a big difference, okay? So let me before I go into the exercise, so stay tuned, the exercises are coming. Remember, protein cycling. You're stimulating mTOR pathway. mTOR pathway is growth. It's going to grow muscles. So in this muscle reset, the way I've laid it out is you're doing 5 days of fasting. I recommend you do autophagy fasting or 1 meal a day. You can do intermittent fasting, and then boom, you come in 2 days later with some protein cycling and high protein, and then you'll see the exercises I recommend that you do to really tap in and maximize your protein. But this is a protocol that I've given many times. I've seen incredible results, so I'm really excited to share it with you. If you want the chart that I wrote out, or I wrote the protocol out, just put muscle reset in there and we'll make sure that you get a link to how do you get it. So, okay? So this is how you're gonna build muscle. So stay tuned. Now I'm gonna show you how you do the exercises. Okay, let's talk about the exercise component to this protein cycling, mTOR stimulating protocol that I've created here for you. So a couple things to remember is that there's 3 different exercises I want to show you. One is perfect to do when you're fasting, especially if you're doing intermittent fasting or 1 meal a day, or you're doing autophagy fasting. And the other 2, I actually want you to cycle in on your protein cycling days. So on your days like when you're trying to build muscle, okay? So let's start with the autophagy fasting. One of the things we know that stimulates autophagy is HIIT training. Now, this isn't new. A lot of you have been doing HIIT training for a while. The way I like to do HIIT training, and I do it every Saturday morning with my patients out in front of our office, and the way I like to do it is where you go 45 seconds all in. So we'll end up doing like a jumping jack, where we'll go as fast as we can for 45 seconds, and then you rest for 15. And then you jump for 45, and then you rest for 15. Sometimes we'll do like a split step type exercises, same thing, 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off. What I tell my patients to do is pick 15 exercises and just do them all the way through. 45 on, 15 off, and see how your body responds to that. Here's the key to the HIIT training. You need to be out of breath. So if you're brand new to working out, the whole experience is brand new to you, or you've been fasting a lot, maybe you've lost a lot of weight and you want to start building muscle now. If you start doing this, you want to make sure that by about halfway through your HIIT training, you're actually bent over and you're like out of breath, okay? And some of you are just going to need to start with walking or running in place, okay? So HIIT training's only to be done on those 5 consecutive days that you're trying to stimulate autophagy. This is where you're cleaning house. So remember, autophagy is where we're getting rid of the toxins. You want to sweat, you want to be out of breath, you want to drive oxygen into the cells. That's perfect for those autophagy days. And I would say do anywhere from 3 to 5. If you want to do all 5 days, you can do HIIT training 15, 20 minutes, all 5. If I would say at least do 3 would be phenomenal. Okay, now let's talk about muscle building. So with muscle building, there are 2 exercises I recommend. One is with these BFR bands. So this is called blood flow restriction or occlusion therapy. And what you're doing, you can find these online. We'll put a link in there. They're not expensive, and you basically put them on. They work only on the biceps and they work on the legs. So here's the trick with the BFR bands. Based off of the research, you don't want a heavy weight. You would want to take like a light weight if you were doing bicep curls, and you would want to do 75 reps as quick as possible. That's what the research has been done on, is 75 reps, okay? So with the legs, you can do squats fast as possible, 75 times. You can do lunges, same thing. But they're quick, they're short, they're meant to be done with a whole series of them. And you're gonna do 4 sets of those, okay? That will stimulate mTOR. That's the research, what the research is showing. Okay, you can also do resistance training. So you can do, like those of you that have a TRX, these are resistance training, kettlebells, even a push-up is resistance training. Now with resistance training, you want to be like low and slow. So you want to move throughout a whole range of motion. So, and you want a lot of weight. You want to be at maximum capacity. That's the way that resistance training is done best. So 5 days of autophagy, you're doing your HIIT training, 3 to 5 of those days. You're not spending more than 15, 20 minutes. And then on the days the 2 days you're doing your stimulating mTOR, you're gonna tap into the BFR bands, or you're gonna do some resistance training, okay? And I know a lot of you have a protocol around that as well. So super cool, we're cleaning house and then we're building back up. You're mixing it with the protein load and you're mixing it with the fasting, and it's a beautiful way to build muscle quickly. So remember, I've mapped this all out for you. If you want a copy of a 30-day program where I map out what you can do for 30 days to build muscle, just put muscle reset on there and we'll make sure you get it. And then I really, as you guys use this more, I really want to hear from you. I want to hear how your body did with this. So give me feedback. It's not like it's going to be instantaneous, but if you follow this variation over time, you will see that you lean out and that you build muscle at the same time, and it doesn't matter what your age. And if you're a high-performing athlete, like I mentioned on the last video, I've got people in their 50s, 60s that are just starting to really kick butt at their sport because of doing the mixture of everything I just taught you in this reset. So as always, I hope that helps, and keep me informed on how you do.